Hello, everyone. This
Hi,
is
everybody.
this is Joan and Junosphere, and we are here to present a new series that we're going to be doing called The Month Ahead. And we are taping this on June 1st, 2022. And last night I was sitting around thinking, what should we ask about? And I thought, well, it's going to be June 1st, and I'm talking to Juno. So what's June got to do with Juno? What's behind the month of June? What's it named after? And lo and behold, a quick trip to Google revealed that the month of June is named for the Roman goddess Juno. So what could be more appropriate than having Juno here with us today? And we're going to talk a little bit about the Roman goddess Juno, and then we're going to dig in and see what she and whomever else can come through can tell us today about some things coming up this month for all of us. So Juno, tell us a little bit about your namesake.
Well, actually, the name Juno was the name I chose for my dog, my rescue dog 12 years ago. She's a beautiful Louisiana Catahoula leopard dog. And she's my rock, and she is a goddess. And then I started to do a little research about the name and found out more about the goddess Juno and really was intrigued. And it ended up being on my Gmail account. And when I signed into YouTube, I was signed in as Juno Jitsu. So that's how I became Juno. It was kind of not intentional, but maybe somebody behind the scenes had a hand in that.
So we've both been kind of looking at different resources online since last night, learning more about the Roman goddess. And I learned that she's known as the Queen of the Gods, and she presided over the state of Rome, the city of Rome and the state of Rome, and over women's lives. And she was also the protector of funds and the mother of Mars. So she's got this sort of warrior goddess energy going too. And so she's often in statues and paintings depicted with a spear and a sword. So she is quite a powerful goddess. And tell us a little bit about the things that you have on your desktop here that relate to Juno, the goddess Juno.
I've pulled out the cards that I have some different sources that I've gone through to see the dates that are correlated to each tarot card. And so the cards that I have here are the ones that cover the month of June. And I'm going to be going into that further. I'm going to do a follow-up video in the next several days that I'll post on my own channel that will talk about the relationship with these cards and why they relate to the month of June. But I just thought it might be interesting for people to see what those cards are and think about the meanings. And this one here with the Ten of Swords reminds me that June is Wound Healing Awareness Month, or WHAM as the acronym is. But you can see that with the wounded healer here, or the wounded person here. So that's just a little insight into that knowledge from the cards. There's so much meaning that these cards are so rich, so many layers of the symbolism, and the more you get into mythology and other meanings, it's really amazing, the correlation. So
and 3 major arcana cards in this grouping too. So June's a heavy hitter.
2 major, the Chariot and the Lovers, because we have the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Swords.
Yep. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
And tell us about, you've got some crystals and other objects that you say are related to Juno also.
Yes, the crystals or minerals that are related to the month of June into Juno is moonstone. I don't know if you can really see.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard with the camera to see the moony quality of the moonstone. And these are pearls that are heart-shaped. And pearl is another crystal that is related to Juno in the month of June. And this is mother of pearl, this shell. So a lot of people hear pearl and mother of pearl and wonder, well, what's the difference? And when you see something that's mother of pearl, it's made like buttons or something will be cut from the shell and formed from that. And these heart-shaped pearls, how they create those is they put a little heart-shaped mold in the oyster and it'll come in, they'll put a dye capsule, have them different colors, and that's how those are created. And of course, we know the other way that pearls are created is a little bit of grit or sand or something will become lodged inside the oyster, and then it creates this nacre that forms the pearl around the little sand, you know, so it takes an irritant to make something so beautiful. So I think that's another way of looking at the symbolism. And the other one here, this is a cowrie shell, C-O-W-R-I-E, cowrie. And if you turn it over, that's related to, because another thing that Juno is related to is the yoni, the female female symbol. So that kind of resembles that. And yeah, the other things are just my goodies that I like to have on the table, my quartz heart and my sphere. So
wonderful. Okay, well, let's get into it and see what we can bring through. The first question that I'd like to explore is to just ask Goddess Juno, and I'll call her Goddess Juno so we know who we're talking to, rather than you're demoted to non-goddess right now. So, Goddess Juno, what insights do you have for us on what your namesake month holds for us as a collective? So I'll try to tune in.
Juno,
and if you'd like to go first, that's just fine.
Shuffle. Get there. Get the cards warmed up.
Okay.
Juno juju going.
Okay, mine's flowing now, so I'm just going to speak up if that's okay. I'm getting a very formal response, and Juno is saying, greetings. I'm very pleased that you've addressed me today on this, the first day of my namesake month. And always remember, she's reminding us that the first of every month is also dedicated to the goddess Juno. So I'm with you throughout the year, every year. You can call on me at any time. Okay, so Juno, in this year that we know of as 2022, what advice do you have for us? We have been hearing that this is going to be a tumultuous month in many ways. And as usual, there's tumult going on all over the world. What insight do you have for those who come and listen to you through this vehicle today? Okay, she is showing me her spear or her sword, and is saying, be strong. Call on the strength that's within you and know that you're protected. Don't be like a tree without roots. Be rooted take time to root yourself in Gaia and to put a shield of protection over you. And she's showing me her shield so that you can withstand whatever comes your way. And she's telling me about the story about she's associated with the peacock and how the peacock came to her and said, how come I can't sing as beautifully as, I don't know if it was the nightingale or some other bird. And she said, fate has given you your gifts. We can't all be all things. And your gift is beauty, she said to the peacock. So she's saying to us, build on your strengths. And your strengths might be what you can do. If this is a time to go out and march in the streets, if this is a time to write letters to the editor, if this is a time to connect with people who are like-minded. This is a time to build on your strengths, and they're she's showing me in my mind's eye the tower. In times, I remember that the tower went down because it wasn't built on a good foundation. So this is a time of being grounded and rebuilding on our solid foundation of our strengths and holding fast to that and not being blown over. Anything else right now, Juno? Okay, she's making mention, bringing our attention to the cultured pearls that you were talking about. The little grit inside that the pearl forms around, that it is the obstacles, the challenges, that what seems to be the difficulties in life that brings forth the beauty. And so this will be a time where the grit will be apparent, and we'll need to use our grit to get through and bring forth the beauty. Okay, I got chills with that.
Beautiful.
So what?
Wow.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
So what does she say to you?
Well, what I see in the cards here is we have a lot of male energy in the first and second cards that I pulled, with the Emperor and the Hierophant. The Emperor, you know, I think we all kind of know who that's representing right now. And also the Hierophant, you know, dealing with the government and the Supreme Court in Roe versus Wade, and how, you know, here's the Queen of Wands at the bottom of the deck upside down. You know, maybe this represents that this will be overturned in the month of June. And, you know, we're going to have to go forward thinking positively and, you know, getting out there and speaking our truth. With the Queen of Wands reversed, that can indicate a blocked sacral chakra. So that's something that we could focus on, opening up our sacral chakras in order to get the Queen of Wands turned right back upside, you know, right side up again. And so that she can meet these challenges that are being brought on by the male dominant energy right now, because it's a time, it's the beginning of the divine feminine coming in. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think maybe this is their last hurrah here, hopefully. And with the Three of Wands, that can indicate stagnation when it's in the reverse position. So we are kind of in that, we're all kind of holding our breath because things just keep escalating and escalating. And we're wondering, what's that tipping point that's going to start the ball rolling in our direction finally? So, and this card indicates a blocked solar plexus. So there's another chakra that we can focus on. I'd like to focus on doing positive things instead of just identifying what is wrong. Let's look at how we can get past it and what we can actively do about it energetically.
That's beautiful. And the solar plexus, it's about self-confidence and taking action.
Mm-hmm. And interestingly, these two cards, the Emperor and the Hierophant, are connected to the root chakra, which I find very interesting. That's, you know, kind of the base of things, and the I would say that's more male related. Mm-hmm. So to speak, you know, both of these cards are male related. So I can see where focusing on knowing which chakras to work with can really help us overcome that and move the energy up from the root chakra to the other chakras.
On the Three of Wands, you said something about how like something had been disregarded, or we hadn't paid attention to something. Was one of the meetings, was that right? Well, because it made me feel like maybe, taking things for granted.
Taking things for granted. And when it's right side up, it's about seeing the big picture. And right now, I think we're so focused on each, you know, there's so many intense things happening that we're not seeing the big picture. We're looking at it from the point of fear and the drama and what's going on, instead of looking at it like maybe as the angelic realm or the ETs do from the bigger realm, okay, this is just the minor static. What's the big picture, the thinking positive and the doing the things to bring good forward and not focusing on the negative.
Yeah. I was just thinking, as far as Roe versus Wade, it was kind of taken for granted for all these years. And now it's like, oh, no, we need to see the big picture and move forward on that. Well, that's fascinating. Okay. Yes. How about, I think we kind of answered, at least we've got a list of questions. I think we've answered 2 in 1 on that one. So let's talk about, let's see what kinds of energies or changes or opportunities the solstice is going to bring forward on June 21st.
Boy, the days are just flying by, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's just
and I'm not an astrologer, and I really don't know. I haven't done any reading or anything about solstice, but I'm just going to see what comes through. Okay, well, this makes sense that I'm seeing the scales. It's all about balance, which I would think is more equinox, but still it's about balance and how things have gotten out of balance. Okay. And how that relates to our lives as citizens in states and in our countries and citizens of the world, that we're going through a period of rebalancing. And some of that solstice energy will help us address this, is what I'm getting. Anything else right now, Spirit? Just be open to the new energies and to new ideas, and to they're kind of showing me someone letting go of something that they've been grasping onto. Be open to trying new things, even though it might seem a little scary. What do you get as far as solstice? Oh my.
Well, the solstice that's coming up is a time for recovery and restoration. So okay. I think we could all use a whole lot of that right now, because it's certainly been one long nightmare. I know every morning I wake up and open my eyes and my sphincter snaps shut, because like those dolls that when their eyes move when you lay them down, and when you wake them up, oh, you turn them up right side up. Well, it looks like we're, I don't think these cards are a surprise to anybody who's aware and living on planet Earth right now. Here is the need to delegate, and we're feeling the weight of the world when this card is reversed, when the 10 of Wands is reversed. And, he can't see where he's going because he's got all those wands. He's not carrying. And when I moved recently and I had a whole bunch of walking sticks, I learned this lesson that if you don't corral those puppies before you head out, you're just going nowhere. So, and I think that we can all kind of relate to that we're just, everything feels very upside down. And here is the card, obviously, with nightmares, not sleeping, feeling stress. And I don't think we need to explain that a whole lot. I think we're all pretty aware that that's what we're in right now. And here with judgment in the reverse position, this can have to do with being karmically stuck. And I think that we feel like we keep spinning our wheels, and we're spinning our wheels, and we're just waiting for that judgment to come so we can move forward. And with it being reversed, I think it's going to be a little while before we're going to get the judgment that we're hoping for in the big picture with this situation, with so many things that are going on. And I'm sorry.
And what about the cup cards?
Yes, at the bottom of the deck,
Oh,
was
that's the
this,
bottom. Okay,
that's the,
excuse me.
yeah, is the Six of Cups. And that's taking life too seriously and living in the past and not being playful. And I think that we've all kind of felt that way with, we're just holding our breath, and kind of afraid to be playful because the world's doesn't feel like a safe place. I'm looking forward to the day when I can go to the grocery store and not be afraid, not just of catching something, but of what might transpire, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that when I look at these cards and I see those that are reversed, I see that if it says, we're not being playful enough, that means that's where we need to rise above that and turn off the TV and do some things that make you happy. Play with your dog or, whatever it is, do something fun and kind of mindless for a little while. Give it all a breather. Allow spirit to come in. If we're always worrying about something, then God can't fix it for us. We're just
Yeah.
playing it over and over again. So, and here's with the worry card here. But as they say, it's always darkest before the dawn.
True.
So I'm hoping that when, when the solstice comes, maybe that'll be good timing. I think that the hearings that are supposed to be televised, that'll have been underway for a little while. And I think that's maybe the tipping point that's going to start awareness rolling in our favor, that people will see more clearly.
That sounds good. Okay. Yeah. All right. Our next question is about Father's Day. Father's Day is June 19th. So Spirit, tell us a little bit about how the male father energy is evolving in these times. Okay, the goddess Juno has jumped in on this one too. And she's talking about how this is in balance again, about she's referencing how women have always had both the feminine qualities, the sensitivity and the strength, and have had that in balance. And especially over the last, 40, 50 years or so, really since the women's movement, have become more and more kind of ambidextrous in exercising both of those sides of themselves. Starting then more, women have always worked, but more women in the workplace and taking on more and more roles that were once exclusively male. And both women as a whole and society have become more and more comfortable with that. It's just natural now. And it hasn't been as long, but men have been doing the same thing, especially in the last maybe 30 years, of being able to access more of their humanity, not just the warrior protector, typically in charge male side, but the loving, nurturing side to them, as fathers, as friends, as human beings who can access, whose hearts can be more open and they can be more comfortable with things that were once thought only of the only female energy. And she is saying that is going to continue, that is a boon to all humankind, to be able to, and I'm seeing a flower flowering, to see or to come out in full colors and know that we have access to all of these aspects of ourselves, and how that will continue to evolve for men. We're seeing men so much more so than in past generations become active participants as fathers, and not just as the fathers who are the ruler punisher types of fathers, but the nurturer, playful, participative dads. And that is going to continue to grow. So that's a great message. Thank you, Spirit. And Goddess Juno. And Earth Juno, what do your cards have to say about this?
Earth to Juno. Well, it strikes me just looking at these, the cards, all of these are basically male energies. The Page of Cups can be male and female. I mean, I realize there's all, we don't want to get too hung up on the genders, but just looking at it overall, and they're all upside down. And I think that a lot of the reason that men are acting out so much is because they're confused too about, the roles they're playing. Everything is just so mixed up, and they've kind of really swung to the severe side in a way, out of fear rather than love. And, this shows they're, even though maybe they're being more aggressive and more assertive, it seems, they're doing it out of fear and feeling like everything's upside down. The world that they knew is changing.
Okay.
They were used to being in charge of everything, and now it's going to be more of the feminine, and they're doing everything they can to hang on.
Some of them.
Yeah, but I'm speaking of the energies that seem to be, you're correct. I hate to paint things with a broad brush because you can always get nitpicky with, sorting all that out. The Eight of Cups in reverse has to do with indecision, lack of focus, drifting aimlessly. And I think that's because there's so much fear that people are kind of, they're just in fear. They don't even have a direction. Sometimes they just lash out. With the Five of Swords in reverse, that's kind of a good thing because that has to do with making amends and reconciliation. So maybe that's indicating the beginning of that starting to happen, to turn around for us. With the Page of Cups in reverse, that's somebody who's waiting for good relationships. And I think that male and female, we're all wanting good relationships. So maybe that's the message that the fish is whispering in the page's ear, that, don't be afraid of the change coming, that it will build better relationships. And with the Ten of Wands showing up again here, the need to delegate, feeling the weight of the world, the delegating, like who's going to go out there and be protesting or, speaking up for the changes that need to be made. So.
Yeah. And they can feel like they can put the burden down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Great. Interesting. Okay. Next up, so June 19th is Father's Day this year, and June 19th is also Juneteenth.
Right.
And so I want to ask Spirit, what can you tell us about the advancement of civil rights and general respect and dignity for African Americans in the U.S.? So what can you tell us about?
This is our second Juneteenth, right? Last year, I think, was the first.
As a national holiday?
A holiday, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Okay, Spirit is showing me the pendulum. And in the past couple of years, since before George Floyd, it was coming up. But the incidents of the past couple of years have come up to show people that it is time. It is time for the pendulum to swing back the other way. And people in the African American community, especially, and in other minority communities too, have long known and understood that they have not been treated as equal citizens. And far too often, every time things are brought up about police discrimination or police brutality or the poor outcomes as far as physical health and dismissiveness of doctors towards African Americans and the unique health concerns that they have. The African American community knew very well about all this, but it was just like, it just swept under the rug. And it had to, this had just had to happen. It had to, the pendulum had to get to the point where it's something like the George Floyd and other incidences woke people up, and that it is not just the African American community, but our country and the world as a whole saying, no, this cannot stand. And now they're showing me the pendulum in slow motion, but that slowly but surely it will be moving to the other side. And it's not fast enough, but it's, they're saying that all the media attention about this has reached people where they live and helped them see things in a new way, in a way that could not be questioned, or because so many times people, you don't know what you don't know. And if you live in a community where there aren't people of minority groups, you're very vulnerable to hanging on to stereotypes or listening to certain voices that may not be representative of those groups. But this was so pervasive and so blatant that it got to more people. Not just people who, you know, were white supremacists, but people who just didn't know. And now they understand more and are on board and on board with change. So it's like I'm seeing things moving forward with a bigger group, and a bigger group that's the arc bending toward justice, that they're moving forward. And we really hope that this will be a great celebration this year. What do you have?
Very nice, Joan. Thank you. Well, normally when we see the Five of Pentacles, we all kind of gasp a little bit, but when it's in reverse, it's actually about recovery and a time of healing. So I can see that, you know, going forward, that even though on the surface things are really tough, there's a lot of healing that's going on under the surface, and the wounds do heal from the inside out, you know, whether they're emotional or physical wounds. Moving on to the Six of Swords, that's leaving for smoother waters and moving away from chaos. And I think that that's definitely what we're all praying for, is some smoother waters. And I can see that in the sense, like I said, it's the second year that this is a national holiday. It's going to be becoming more worked into our fabric, that is part of what we celebrate as a national holiday. When I see the Seven of Cups, I see all these opportunities, you know, when we get through this healing, they're going to realize all the gifts that all the different cultures bring, and that we have many options. It can be about being ungrounded a bit, but I think that I'd rather focus on all the good choices that we have. And some of them, you know, this one, it's covered up. We don't know what that one is. So that might be the greatest treasure of all there for us. That'll be uncovered through this. You know, when you have a national holiday, on some level, I think it does bring people together. They're focused on the meaning of that day for that 24-hour span at the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the Nine of Cups in reverse, I thought about that one for a bit, and kind of what I see there is this man with his arms crossed that way, and he's sitting in a very stern kind of position, even though this can be the wish card when it's right side up. I see that as the people who've been in charge so far, having their life turned upside down. Their cups are right. Their cups are not full anymore. That's what I see from that card. So
that's beautiful. When you read on the first card, I got chills with your interpretation there, and moving to the smoother waters. And I thought about on the is it the 8 of Cups or the
Seven
7?
cups.
It's appropriate that the person in the foreground is in silhouette, shown in black. So maybe it's like opportunities are opening up for, just opportunities.
Expand your imagination.
Yeah, opportunities opening up for Black people. So that's great. And with I often think of it's the 10 of Cups, I believe, on the bottom of the deck.
It's the 9 of Cups.
Or 9 of Cups. Often called the smug merchant. And upside down, he's not so smug anymore.
Yeah.
Things are changing.
Yeah, his cups are emptying out all at once in a big hurry.
Yeah. Well, that's a really positive read for Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think so too. Yeah. And it's got, a couple of Archangel Gabriel cards in there. So that's he's the communicator, about bringing messages. So maybe we'll have some good news coming.
Some good music on the horn through Gabriel.
There you go. I like that.
All right. Next up is World Refugee Day is June 20th. And I was wondering whether the Ukrainian refugee crisis is going to help people be more accepting of refugees from around the world, and especially from places, non-European refugees, because that was one thing that came up, that everyone was open arms for the Ukrainian refugees and would say, oh, but what about the people from here and there and everywhere else? So, Spirit, what can you tell us about that? Will the embrace of and the experience of seeing what the Ukrainians, who are now refugees from their homes because of the horrendous war in their home, will that help people throughout the world understand and be more open to refugees from other cultures and other countries? Well, they flashed a tarot card at me, the three of Swords, the heartbreak card. So, Spirit, tell me a little bit more about what this means. Okay, they're saying that in this particular situation, people all over the world were heartbroken, as for the Ukrainian refugees. And that they felt it in their hearts and opened their hearts to them. But going through this experience as a world community it's going to help people understand. Even refugees from countries that we haven't seen on the news, the horrors that they're going through. It's going to open the door a crack more. It's not like all of a sudden everyone's going to say, yes, open the doors to refugees from wherever. The door is not going to swing wide, but it's going to open a lot further than it has been lately. So I guess the short answer to that is yes, it's going to have a positive impact, not just for the Ukrainian refugees, but for people of other cultures who find themselves as refugees. What do you get?
Sounds good. Thank you for that.
Wow, so many upside down cards, reverse cards.
Yeah, and I shuffle them. You know how it goes.
Yeah,
they just show up the way they show up. And I think that we're living in such uncertain times. I'm really, not surprised that we're getting so many reversals. Here we have the 10 of Cups in reverse, which is struggling with relationships and disconnection. And, to me, this shows all these people whose lives have been uprooted and, everything they've built, their happy family, their happy home, it's obliterated. They've had to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then we move on to the 10 of Pentacles, which is normally, the happy family, all the generations of, all that they've built up. When you think of all those historic buildings that were there that have been built up over centuries, and they're gone, So that, the 10 of Pentacles in reverse has to do with bankruptcy, deep financial loss, feeling like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that that's kind of what they're in right now. But I see hope coming with the Page of Swords. There's the message of truth, the sword of truth coming in. And I think that that's what's going to have to make the big shift to get going, is to get rid of all this, what did she call it? Alternative facts, and let's get the truth back out there again. And this is also representing youth. The young people are going to be the ones that are really going to make this change, because so many of the old people are stuck in their ways of thinking. So I think that that's, it's a really powerful and optimistic sign that the Page is coming in to start things new. And here at the bottom of the deck with the Knight of Cups in reverse, he's waiting for opportunity, and it's a relationship that's slow in coming. It's coming, but it's going to come slowly. So, you can't mend these wounds in a day, what's going on there. But I think overall, it is a positive thing. It's just, I think we will do better to be realistic and understand that it's not going to happen in the speed that we would like it to, but it is coming.
Definitely. That sounds beautiful. Okay, great. All right, moving on. June is also Pride Month. So,
Yay.
Spirit.
Don't say gay. Don't say gay. Gay.
So what can you tell us about how society will or won't evolve to greater acceptance of LGBTQ people?
Well, I sure hope it does.
Yeah.
I feel strongly about this.
I saw, the old adage about about a camel coming through the side of the tent. If a camel gets his nose through the side of the tent, then the whole camel is going to come in. And there's been so much acceptance comparative to decades past, but it's still the camel's nose and maybe up to its eyes are in the tent. But there's a lot more that still needs to be done, is what I'm getting. And but at least the nose is into the tent. And okay, and now I'm getting balance again. That on a higher perspective, this is helping us move toward acceptance of all people and all genders, all nationalities, all cultures. It's a very important step to understanding that we're all one. And over the years, there have been, there's still so much prejudice in so many ways, but it's sort of like now there's been Ellen on her show that's been going, just stopped after almost 20 years. There's people can't say they don't know, that they don't know of someone who is of that community and see their value and their light. And it might just be somebody who watches Ellen on television and can say, okay, I see, can get over their previously held beliefs. But even that is like lighting a candle in the darkness. And it's only going to improve. But there, again, I'm seeing the pendulum that things like whatever the Supreme Court does with Roe versus Wade may, and I don't remember or don't quite understand or couldn't quote the legalities of it, may put in jeopardy things like gay marriage. And it's a step towards the evolution has to continue, and it might be 3 steps forward, 1 step back. And the step back is to remind us that no, we can't take any of this for granted. Any of the improvements that have been made, cannot take that for granted. But overall, it is for all of us to learn to appreciate that we are all connected. We're all one, no matter what the individual expression of that soul is in this lifetime. We're moving toward acceptance.
Nice. Let's hope so. Let's hope
Yeah.
and pray, because I just never understood prejudice. Maybe it's the times I grew up in or something. I just never got it. So I think we all deserve to be loved and respected.
Definitely.
What I see is with the 6 of Wands, again, a lot of reverse cards.
Yeah.
You know, lack of validation, falling from grace. I think that, you know, the LGBT community had made so many strides with, you know, gay marriage and all these things, and people feeling more free and able to be out without judgment or fear of retribution. And now, you know, that's all kind of been turned upside down, seems like in the blink of an eye almost. With the 10 of Pentacles, you know, not feeling, you know, feeling like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. That, you know, people, and especially if they had started a certain type of surgery or whatever, or need medication, and now they're stopping that from being available to them, you know, that's got to be very, very concerning. And then we move on here to the 8 of Cups, which if it was right side up, you know, be moving on, moving forward, and travel. And now this is more about indecision, lack of focus, drifting aimlessly, which is where they're kind of in limbo, like, do I, don't I? And then those who have not openly come out, you know, they don't know what to do with that. But the good news at the end, at the bottom of the deck, is the 4 of Wands, you know, celebrating a milestone and having stability and security and a new home. And I think that will be coming in the future. I think that we're just, it's like the Band-Aid is being ripped off, and we're seeing, it's like the iceberg, you know, we just saw we thought was bad at the top. Well, you know, little did we know all the ugliness underneath. And so we have to dig all that out, and then we can have the happy home, you know, once we get past all this and move forward with it. But it's going to take people like you and I, like-minded people, being in support of each other's communities to bring about the change.
Yeah. Be welcomed into the happy new place.
Definitely. Definitely.
Well,
here's the 2 drag queens right here. They're all dressed up and ready to go, you know, to celebrate their new homes.
That's true. Okay, my last question. Oh, and we're just about an hour now. Just to throw in something on a lighter side, I'm here in the Midwest, 20 miles from the great state of Wisconsin, and June, and so I know that June is Dairy Month. So let's ask, and I don't know if you just want to pull one card on this or what. A lot of people don't consume dairy anymore, some for ethical reasons and some for health reasons. And so what I want to know what Spirit has to say about this. And I might just go to the Pendulum and see what I get. So is dairy from cows, is cow dairy really a healthy food for humans? And it is going at a 45-degree angle.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's not one answer. So Spirit, what's the deal on this? Okay, they're pretty much saying what I've been telling you this whole hour. Everything is individual. Okay, they're saying some people it's not appropriate because of their deeply held beliefs. Other people have a bodily chemistry that dairy just doesn't work for them. But like so much in life, there's no one right way. There's the way that's right for you. And so our job, they're telling me, is to find what's right for you and follow that course and not judge other people. Because they have their own beliefs, they have their own physicality and how they react to certain things. And we're all at our own stage of development, physically, spiritually, politically, whatever. Something that a mentor of mine used to say was, all God's children have a voice in the choir. Some can sing low, some sing higher. So you can't judge other people because they're, some are just clapping their hands and some are just playing the tambourine, but they're doing what's right for them and what everybody's trying to do the best they can. So figure out what works for you, whether it's in something as small as whether to have dairy or not, or something larger, and figure out what works for you. And as long as it's not hurting anyone else, try not to judge other people. What do you have?
Very nice, Joan. I like that. When you mentioned the question about the dairy, I remembered when I went to Roswell, New Mexico, and you think, what do we think of Roswell? We think it's all ET. Well, Roswell, New Mexico is the dairy capital of New Mexico.
I had no idea.
So who would have thunk, So you wonder, maybe the Martians are drinking milk. I don't know. Well, I pulled the Chariot card, and I see that you're talking about, two different ways of thinking about it, or, that those who can or those who can't. You could have chocolate milk and white milk. You could look at the sphinxes in a lot of different ways, but they're still pulling the Chariot forward. So I still see forward movement for us, whichever we decide. And I think you're absolutely right that some people, certain cultures don't think it's right to consume those things. And then other cultures, that's what we've been doing for thousands of years. And, not to judge people based on that, I think is the really important thing, that if we accept that, with the two different sphinxes, they're still pulling the Chariot. So if we work together, no matter if we have our differences, we're still going to get to a good solution, and we're going to be able to move forward.
Yeah. Respect each other's choices and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, that's great. And I thank you, Juno. This has been really fun. And to those who are listening, thank you so much for stopping by, and let us know whether you think this is a worthy project to do. We're thinking about doing this once a month and kind of tapping in and seeing what's on tap for the month ahead. So let us know if you think we should continue this. And be sure to like and subscribe if you would care to for my channel, and know that Junosphere is, Juno has her own channel, Junosphere, and I'll make sure that the link to that is in the description of this video too. So please subscribe to hers. Oh, and I wanted to say, well, thanks to Spirit, and especially to the goddess Juno for coming through today. But thank you to everyone who subscribed to my channel. Today, I woke up and looked at my statistics on my YouTube channel, and I've reached my first 100 subscribers.
Wow, congratulations. Yeah. That's exciting.
So that was really fun.
Oh,
and I know, Juno, that you've got what, over 60 already? Something like that?
I think I had 64, 65 when I got up this morning. So thank you to everybody out there. And thank you for all the people who encouraged me. And I'm going to get emotional. I'm going to try not to, but I have such gratitude to Joan. she's been a wonderful mentor to me, and I wouldn't be able to do this without her help.
Oh, you sweetie
I
pie.
told myself I wouldn't do this, but thank you so much for having me on. And my knees didn't knock together once.
Great.
And I'm
Great.
really grateful. So thank you to everybody. And I hope you'll continue to follow both Joan and I, and just thankful for all of you out there. And let's stay positive and focus on where we're going and what the world as we want to see it.
Definitely. Thanks so much. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.